Hey Clear Lake peeps, Ross England here, Clear Lake Guide Service with your Clear Lake fishing report for June 2nd. Don't get used to this coming up every other day. My screw up, and I apologize for it. So hopefully we're back on a regular schedule from this point forward. Okay, conditions. As you can see behind me, lake's pretty flat. As you can also see in front of you, my face is pretty hot. It's toasty out here. I'm sitting off Lakeport right now, and there is not a breath of wind. There's a little bit of a pea soup that's kind of started on the surface right here, but overall, it's just hotter than heck right now. So I'm going to get this done and head on home. But we fished yesterday, like I outlined, and then I fished today. So let's go over the conditions real quick. Water clarity, I saw anywhere from less than a foot to almost, I'm going to call it 7 feet. Some pretty good areas where, I could see 4 to 5 feet very well. So overall, and now I understand that down in the other two ends of the lake, which I've not been in, that there's pretty good algae bloom going on. There was, as I outlined yesterday, a pretty good algae bloom that was kind of from the state park to Henderson, and that was kind of that brown algae that was on the surface. I've spent most of my time yesterday and today on the upper end of the lake, a little bit down below the Narrows, and overall for this time of year, I'm going to call the water conditions really good. Water temperature 73 to 76 depending on where we were. I've heard some other people talking about it being a little bit colder and a little bit warmer. That's what I've seen where we are. The lake level is under 0.4 and dropping. We're probably going to see it. We'll continue to kind of report on it as we go. I don't know where it's going to end up. Normally, Clear Lake drops 3 feet in the summer. We've got a ways to go, but within the next couple of weeks, we're probably going to be at 0 Rumsey. Lucerne launch ramp closed for boat traffic. You can't really use the boat ramp at Keeling Park over in Nice. These launch ramps here in Lakeport, 3rd Street, 5th Street, are still in really good shape. I used the county park yesterday, and I think it's going to still be good for probably, maybe, I don't know, 2 weeks to 4 weeks. I had probably 3 feet of water there, so it really wasn't that bad. I couldn't tell you about Konocti Vista. I have not been into the casino area, so I don't know how it is. And if somebody has a report for me or for the group on the conditions down at Clear Lake Oaks ramp, that would be great if you just type it into the comments down below. I know that a couple of lanes were shut off of Redbud, but they still are functional. 2 or 3 lanes are still functional down there. So, and I think they will be for a while. So, we haven't heard anything official about what's going on up here. I think talk and rumors about the lake closing are way premature. We've got some time to go before we get to that point. So there's your conditions report. Activities, there's a BBT on Saturday. I'm not exactly sure, sorry, I can't tell you where they're going out of, but that's happening Saturday. There's nothing that I know of on Sunday other than, as always, there's always club tournaments going on up here on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So just keep that in the back of your mind. This time of year, things really slow down when it gets this hot. The fishing doesn't, but the activity around the lake does. So let's talk a little bit about fishing. I'm looking on my deck right now and what we caught fish on this morning. I got 2 different sizes of poppers. I've got a drop shot. I've got a, what else do I have there? Got an underspin and a frog. Yesterday was the first day I actually spent any time throwing the frog, and guess what? It's frog fishing. I can tell you how many blow-ups we had, and that sounds a whole lot more fun than how many fish we actually caught. I can tell you that today we went 0 for 4. Yesterday I had, I don't know what I said, probably a dozen or so blow-ups. A couple fish I hooked, a couple I tried to hook that I didn't, and most of them I just let them swim off with the frog because I didn't want to hook them until today. So yesterday 20 fish in that range. Today we had 21, 22, and these are both, yesterday was just me fishing for an hour and 45 minutes. Today was a guy fishing for about 5.5 hours. So a lot of topwater fish. The majority of the fish were on topwater, and then we just started picking off some sight fish and cruisers here and there where we had clear enough water where we could see them. We also did catch a couple of dock fish, but we didn't spend much time fishing for them. So I think the fishing's pretty good. Size is a real issue. I think I saw a fish today that might have been between 6 and 7 pounds. Hard to say. I haven't handled a fish in the last couple of days that was over 4 pounds. We probably had 17.5 pound limit today, maybe 18, and yesterday was pretty much about the same thing. So that's kind of the ballpark of what's going on. I know that there's a jig bite, down in deeper water. I'm fishing almost everything that I'm doing is probably less than 7 feet of water. I'm going to say from 1.5 feet to 5 feet is where the bulk of our fish have come from. The weeds are kind of a weird deal this year. We're all looking for weed mats, and there's some areas where there's a little bit of matting going on. I'm sitting here right now, right off of Lakeport shoreline, and there's a bunch of grass floating around here that as soon as the wind starts to blow and starts to push it one direction or another, there's going to be some really good weed mats up against the tules. Probably especially from, all the way down through the state park, from Lakeport all the way down through the state park. So look for that to happen, and I know that there's a really good late afternoon bite. I'm being told that by reliable sources. I'm not out there to do it, but if you can handle being out in the last 2 hours, you're gonna catch fish. There's a good topwater bite going on. The areas that we've been in, even though I haven't thrown it, I know because the way they're laid out, I could catch fish on a swim jig or even a chatterbait, because the weed growth just is pretty sparse around the lake. So there's a lot of places that you can get a bait and work a bait through without getting hung up immediately. So it'll be interesting to see what happens the next, I'm going to call it the month of June, and see how things work out as far as how much water we lose and all that. So I think that'll probably wrap it up for today. Thanks for sticking with me. I appreciate it. If you like what you hear, subscribe to the channel. It helps us out. If you have any questions, make sure that you plop them in the little spot down below where you can interact, because so far I'm really good at being able to get back to everybody, and I fully intend to do that until you guys make us so famous that I just can't do it, which ain't gonna happen. Won't be because of you not trying. It's not gonna happen. So I take this all with a grain of salt. We'll call it good for today, because I'm hotter than snot and I'm ready to get back in and get ready for tomorrow. So we'll talk to you next week.